There's a moment every cat owner knows but rarely admits. You reach out to connect with your feline companion and something feels wrong. The air shifts, their body tenses, and in that split second, you wonder, does my cat actually dislike me? For years, we've told ourselves stories about cats. They're independent, they're aloof, they're just being cats. But what if those stories are excuses? What if your cat has been telling you exactly how they feel, and you've been missing the message? Cats don't experience hatred the way humans do. They don't hold grudges or plot revenge. But they absolutely experience fear, discomfort, and stress. And when those feelings are directed at you, the result can feel an awful lot like rejection. Today, we're decoding 14 unmistakable signs that your cat is uncomfortable around you. These aren't guesses or old wives' tales. They're scientifically observed behaviors that reveal exactly how your feline friend feels about your presence. Some of these signs will surprise you. Some might hurt to hear, but all of them are essential knowledge for anyone who wants to build a better relationship with the mysterious creature who shares their home. Let's begin. Sign 1. They vanish when you appear. You walk into the living room. Your cat was there a moment ago, comfortably curled on the couch, but now, gone. Not gradually wandering off. Instant disappearance, as if your presence triggered an evacuation alarm. This isn't coincidence. This isn't them simply seeking a change of scenery. This is active avoidance. Cats who disappear the moment you appear have learned through experience that your presence predicts something unpleasant. Maybe you've been too loud. Maybe you've chased them for affection. Maybe you've interrupted their peace one too many times. Whatever the cause, their survival instincts now tell them, when this human arrives, it's time to leave. The most heartbreaking version of this, cats who hide specific times of day, like when you come home from work. If your cat greets other family members but vanishes when you enter, they're not being random. They've associated you with stress. Pay attention to the pattern. Does your cat leave rooms when you enter? Do they slink away when you approach? Do they seem to have a sixth sense for when you're about to interact, disappearing just before you reach out? That's not imagination. That's learned avoidance. And it's one of the clearest signs that your cat doesn't feel safe around you. Sign 2. The tail tells the truth. If you want to understand what your cat is feeling, stop looking at their face and start looking at their tail. In many ways, a cat's tail functions like a mood ring, except it never lies. Scientific studies have confirmed what cat lovers have long suspected. The feline tail is one of the most expressive appendages in the animal kingdom. An upright tail signals confidence and happiness. A tail curved into a question mark indicates friendliness and curiosity. A tail wrapped gently around your leg is the feline equivalent of a hug. But when you see a tail held low, horizontal to the ground, tucked between the legs, or puffed up like a bottle brush, you're looking at a cat in distress. A lowered or horizontal tail typically indicates fear, defensiveness, or hostility. It's the posture of a cat who feels threatened and is preparing to protect themselves. If your cat's tail consistently drops when you approach, if they hold it low and stiff in your presence, they're telling you something important. They don't feel safe around you. Here's what most owners miss. A tail that's rigid and low while the tip twitches, that's a cat who's not just uncomfortable, they're actively deciding whether to fight or flee. Give them space before they make that decision for you. The tail doesn't lie. Learn to read it, and you'll never wonder what your cat is feeling again. Sign 3. They guard their body like a fortress. Sleep is the ultimate vulnerability. When a cat sleeps, they cannot run from predators. They cannot defend their territory. They cannot protect themselves at all. Every nap is an act of faith. A cat who feels safe will sleep anywhere, in the middle of the floor, stretched out on their back, belly exposed to the ceiling, paws dangling in impossible positions. They'll snooze through your movements, your conversations, their daily chaos. Because deep in their feline brain, they know they're protected. A cat who doesn't feel safe, they sleep like they're in enemy territory. They choose hiding spots with multiple escape routes. They sleep curled tightly, with their body protecting every vital organ. They position themselves facing the door, alert even in rest. They startle awake at sudden movements. They never, ever let their guard down completely. If your cat refuses to relax in your presence, if they maintain constant vigilance even during rest, if they never expose their vulnerable belly when you're nearby, they're not being dramatic, they're being cautious. And caution in the presence of a trusted human is a contradiction. Here's a test. Watch where your cat chooses to sleep when you're home versus when you're away. If they only relax in your absence, you have your answer. Your presence, not your absence, is the stressor. Sign 4. The ears disappear. The ears tell a story that words never could. They're constantly moving, constantly communicating, if you know how to read them. When a cat's ears are forward and alert, they're engaged and curious. When they're swiveling independently, they're processing information from multiple sources. When they're relaxed and slightly to the side, they're content. But when those ears flatten, pressed sideways against the head like airplane wings, or pinned completely backward until they seem to disappear, you're looking at a cat in full defensive mode. Flattened ears are one of the clearest warnings in the feline behavioral repertoire. They indicate fear, aggression, or extreme discomfort. The cat is literally trying to make themselves smaller, to protect their delicate ears from potential injury, to prepare for conflict. In the wild, oars are vulnerable, they tear easily, bleed heavily, and can disable a cat's ability to hunt. Protecting them is instinct. This is not the moment to reach out and pet them. This is not the moment to scoop them up for comfort. Your hand approaching their field of vision will be interpreted not as affection, but as threat. And a threatened cat will defend themselves. Behaviorists consider flattened ears one of the earliest indicators that a cat is about to escalate, to hiss, to swat, to bite. It's a pre-attack signal, and ignoring it is how well-meaning owners get injured. If your cat's ears flatten when you approach, when you speak, when you reach for them, they're telling you something vital. They need space. They need distance. They need you to prove you're not a threat before they'll consider coming closer. Sign 5. Your belongings become their bathroom. There are few experiences more frustrating than finding that your cat has used your bed, your clothes, or your favorite rug as a toilet. The immediate reaction is often anger, a sense of betrayal, a feeling that your cat is somehow punishing you. But here's what most owners don't understand. Cats don't eliminate outside the box to punish you. They don't understand revenge. When a cat poops on your belongings, they're communicating something entirely different, and it's rarely about hatred. Sometimes it's medical. Urinary tract infections, kidney issues, or digestive problems can make the litter box an unpleasant experience. Sometimes it's environmental. A dirty box, an undesirable location, or a change in litter type can drive a cat elsewhere. But sometimes it's territorial in a way that's actually about you. Cats are scent-driven creatures. They communicate through pheromones, through the chemical signatures they leave on objects and surfaces. When a cat eliminates on your belongings, especially items that carry your concentrated scent, like your pillow, your clothes, your side of the bed, they're often engaging in a form of extreme scent marking. They're saying, in the only language they have, this space is mine. These objects carry my scent now. You need to understand that I'm claiming this territory. Notice where they're eliminating. Is it on your things specifically? In places that smell most like you? That's not random. That's targeted. In no random place. And while it feels like aggression, it's actually insecurity. A cat who doesn't feel confident in their territory reinforcing their claim through the most powerful scent marker they possess. The fact that they choose your belongings, that's actually a backhanded compliment. Those items smell most like you, which means you're central to whatever territory anxiety they're experiencing. The solution isn't punishment. That only increases anxiety. The solution is understanding the underlying cause and addressing the insecurity driving the behavior. Sign 6. Your touch is unwelcome. Touch is one of the primary ways bonded cats express affection. They rub against your legs, depositing their scent as a marker of belonging. They headbutt your hand, inviting interaction. They curl in your lap, sharing warmth and vulnerability. They groom your skin and hair, treating you like family. But a cat who doesn't trust you, a cat who views you as a potential threat, they want none of these things. If your cat consistently avoids your touch, if they duck away when you reach for them, if they never initiate contact and resist your attempts at affection, they're telling you something profound. In their mind, you are not safe. You are not family. You are not someone to be close to. Pay attention to the quality of their resistance. A cat who tolerates petting for exactly 30 seconds then walks away, that's not hatred. That's a cat with clear boundaries who's communicating them effectively. They're saying, That was nice, and now I'm done. But a cat who flinches at your approach, who freezes when you reach out, who retreats before contact even happens, that's fear. That's distrust. That's a cat who has learned that human hands bring negative experiences. Here's the nuance most owners miss. Some cats show affection through proximity rather than touch. They'll sit near you, in the same room, maybe even on the same piece of furniture, but they won't want to be touched. That's not rejection. That's their love language. But a cat who won't even share space with you, who treats your approach as a reason to leave, that's different. That's a relationship that needs repair. Sign 7. The belly trap. Few feline postures are as misleading as the upside-down cat. When a cat rolls onto their back, exposing that soft, vulnerable belly, it's easy to interpret as an invitation. Look, they seem to say, I trust you completely. Rub my belly. Love me. And sometimes that's exactly what it means. But sometimes, and this is crucial, it means something entirely different. A cat on their back with all four paws extended, claws visible, body tense, ears hind? That's not an invitation. That's a defensive combat position. From this posture, a cat can deploy every weapon they possess. Claws from all 4 feet, teeth from a mouth perfectly positioned to bite. They've rolled onto their back not to invite touch, but to prepare for war. In the wild, cats will sometimes roll into their backs during fights with other animals. It allows them to use all their weapons simultaneously while protecting their spine. It's a last resort defensive posture, not a gesture of trust. So, how do you tell the difference? Look at the whole body. A relaxed, trusting cat on their back will have soft eyes, loose paws, maybe even a slow blink. Their ears will be neutral or forward. Their body will appear limp, comfortable, at ease. They might even purr. A defensive cat on their back will have tense muscles, visible claws, flattened ears, and eyes that track your every movement like a security camera. They're not relaxed, they're coiled, waiting, ready. Their tail might twitch, their body might be rigid. If you see the second version, do not reach for that belly. You will lose. The cat isn't offering trust, they're offering a trap, and your hand is the bait. Sign 8. The unblinking challenge. Eye contact means different things to different species. Among humans, sustained gaze often signals interest, attraction, or connection. Among cats, it can mean something far more complicated. A cat who looks at you with soft eyes, who blinks slowly, who holds your gaze without tension, that's love. That's the famous cat kiss, a gesture of trust and comfort that researchers have actually studied and confirmed. When your cat slow blinks at you, they're telling you they feel safe. But a cat who stares at you with hard eyes, unblinking, pupils perhaps narrowed, body stiff, that's something else entirely. In the feline world, prolonged, unbroken eye contact is a challenge. It's what rivals do before a fight. It's what predators do before they strike. When your cat stares you down without blinking, without relaxing, without looking away, they're not admiring you. They're assessing you. They're watching for threat. They're communicating in no uncertain terms that they're on alert. Here's what makes this sign tricky. Sometimes cats stare because they're curious, because they're waiting for food, because they're simply observing. The difference is in the accompanying signals. Are their ears flattened? Is their tail twitching aggressively? Is their body tense and low to the ground? Are they positioned to flee or fight? If yes, that stare is a warning. In the animal kingdom, breaking eye contact is a sign of deference. Sometimes, the most respectful thing you can do is simply look away, proving to your cat that you're not challenging them. Sign 9. The constant hider. All cats hide sometimes. It's part of their nature, seeking out cozy corners, dark spaces, elevated perches where they can observe without being observed. Hiding in itself is not a sign of distress. But constant hiding? Hiding specifically when you're around? Hiding that persists long after a cat should have adjusted to their environment? That's different. A cat who consistently retreats when you enter a room, who spends most of their time tucked away where you can't see them, who only emerges when you're asleep or absent, they're not being shy. They're being avoidant. And avoidance is a clear signal that your presence causes them stress. This is especially significant if the cat has been in your home for a while. A new cat hiding while they adjust is normal. A resident cat who suddenly starts hiding, something has changed. Something has made them feel unsafe in a space that used to feel secure. Notice where they hide. Are they choosing spots with only one entrance? That suggests they feel trapped. Are they hiding in high places? They're trying to observe without being observed. Are they hiding in your closet, surrounded by your scent? They're seeking comfort from your smell while avoiding you personally, a complex and heartbreaking contradiction. Resist the urge to drive them out of hiding. Forcing interaction when a cat is in protective mode will only reinforce their fear. They'll learn that hiding isn't enough, that you'll pursue them even into their sanctuaries. Instead, let them hide. Let them feel secure in their chosen spot. If the hiding persists for weeks, consider a veterinary check. Chronic hiding can sometimes signal underlying health issues that have nothing to do with you. Sign 10. The teeth make contact. Biting is one of the most unambiguous signals in the feline repertoire. When a cat bites with intent, not the gentle mouthing of play, not the soft nibble of affection, but a real bite meant to break skin and communicate displeasure, they're telling you something unmistakable. They want you to stop. They want you to move away. They want you to understand that whatever you're doing is not acceptable. The key is distinguishing between types of bites. Kittens bite during play. It's how they learn boundaries. Adult cats may give gentle love bites that don't break skin, often during moments of intense affection. These are not aggressive. They're part of the complex language of feline interaction. But a bite, accompanied by flattened ears, a puffed tail, hissing or growling, a bite delivered with clear intent to harm, a bite that comes without warning because you missed all the earlier signals, that's aggression. That's fear. That's a cat who has run out of more subtle ways to communicate. Here's what most people don't realize. Cats almost always give warnings before they bite. The tail flick, the ear flatten, the skin ripple, the tense silence. If you're getting bitten, it's usually because you missed the 5 earlier signals. If your cat bites you, don't punish them. Punishment only confirms that you're a threat. Instead, examine what led to the bite. What were you doing? What signals did you miss? How can you approach differently next time? Cats don't bite without reason. They bite because they've learned that gentle signals don't work. Sign 11. You're the only one they avoid. This one stings more than any other. You watch your cat rub against guests, accept pets from strangers, curl up in your friend's lap, and then ignore you completely. It feels personal. It feels like rejection. And in a way, it is personal, but not in the way you think. Cats are notorious for playing favorites. They form stronger bonds with some humans than others, and those bonds aren't always based on who feeds them or cleans their box. Sometimes they're based on energy, on history, on the subtle chemistry of personality. If your cat is friendly with others but avoids you, the problem isn't them, it's the dynamic between you. Something about your interactions has taught them that you're less safe, less predictable, less comfortable than other humans. Maybe you've moved too fast. Maybe you've ignored their signals. Maybe you've forced affection when they needed space. Maybe your energy is simply different from what they prefer. Maybe you're the one who does the scary things, the nail trims, the vet visits, the medications. This isn't a character flaw. It's a relationship issue, and like all relationship issues, it can be addressed. Start by observing how others interact with your cat. What do they do differently? Do they move slower, speak softer, wait to be approached? Do they let the cat come to them rather than reaching out? Mimic those behaviors. Let your cat see that you can be calm, that you can respect their boundaries, that you're willing to learn their language. Over time, with patience and consistency, many cats will warm to humans they once avoided. But it takes time, and it takes letting go of the expectation that they should love you just because you love them. Sign 12. The warning sound. Hissing is one of the most unmistakable sounds in the feline vocabulary. It's not complicated. It's not subtle. It's a clear, unambiguous message. Back off. I feel threatened. I will defend myself if necessary. If your cat hisses at you, they're not being dramatic. They're not being rude. They're communicating genuine fear or discomfort. Something about your presence, your actions, or your proximity has triggered their deepest defensive instincts. Kittens hiss sometimes as they learn social boundaries. It's normal developmental behavior. But an adult cat hissing at you is a serious signal. It means they feel cornered, threatened, or overwhelmed. It means they've moved past subtle cues into overt warning. Here's what most people get wrong about hissing. They think it means the cat is aggressive or mean. In reality, hissing is usually fear, not aggression. It's a cat saying, I really don't want to fight, but I will if I have to. It's a plea for distance, not a declaration of war. When a cat hisses, the appropriate response is not to reach for them, not to punish them. The appropriate response is to give them space, step back, remove the pressure. Let them see that you respect their warning. Only when they've calmed down, when they're no longer in defensive mode, can you begin to rebuild trust. But that rebuilding starts with respecting the hiss for what it is, a request for distance. Sign 13. The enthusiasm gap. You bring out the feather wand, the toy they used to love. Nothing. You dangle the laser pointer, once their obsession. Nothing. You offer their favorite treats, the ones they'd kill for. A sniff, a turn away, nothing. Chronic disinterest in play, in treats, in interaction, especially if it's specific to you, can signal that your cat is unhappy with your dynamic. Now, context matters. Cats have off days. They get tired. They get bored with toys. They have moods just like humans. Occasional disinterest is normal. Even a week of low energy might just mean they're under the weather. But if your cat consistently refuses to engage with you, if they show no enthusiasm for activities they once enjoyed, if they seem to have no positive associations with your presence, that's worth examining. Play is one of the primary ways cats bond with their humans. It mimics hunting, taps into ancient instincts, and creates shared positive experiences. When a cat won't play with you, they're not just rejecting a toy, they're rejecting a form of connection. Here's the nuance. Some cats show enthusiasm in subtle ways. A flick of the ear, a slight tail raise, a glance toward the toy, these can be engagement without action. But complete, consistent, total disinterest? That's communication. This doesn't mean they hate you. It means the connection isn't there. And the solution isn't forcing play, it's rebuilding the foundation of trust that makes play possible. Sign 14, the sudden switch. And finally, the sign that confuses more cat owners than any other. Your cat sits on your lap for 15 minutes, purring, accepting pets, seemingly content. They're kneading, eyes half closed, the picture of feline bliss. Then, without any warning you can perceive, they dig their claws into your legs, bite your hand, and leap away. Maybe they hiss as they go. Maybe they just glare at you from across the room. What just happened? Did they suddenly decide they hate you? Were they faking affection the whole time? Neither. What happened is simple. Your cat reached their threshold. Cats have limits. They can enjoy affection intensely and then in an instant become overstimulated. The petting that felt good suddenly feels overwhelming. The closeness that was comforting suddenly feels trapping. Their nervous system flips a switch and they need to escape. Now, this isn't rejection, it's regulation. Your cat isn't saying, I hate you. They're saying, I've had enough for now. I need space. I need to reset. I need to stop before my feelings turn from pleasure to pain. The key is learning to read the subtle signals before the switch happens. The tail begins to twitch, not the happy twitch, but a sharp, irritable flick. The skin along their back ripples. An ear rotates backward. Their purring might stop or change in tone. These are warnings that threshold is approaching. If you learn to stop before your cat needs to escape, you'll build trust rather than erode it. You'll become someone who respects their limits. And over time, those limits may expand. But if you miss the signals and get the claws, don't take it personally. Take it as information. Your cat was communicating, and now you know to listen earlier next time.